We're joined by energy expert John Mitchell. John, thank you for joining us. Now, OPEC members are currently faced with one dilemma: hold up oil reserves to push up prices or let go. Now, the question is removing surplus crude from the market a long-term solution to the falling oil prices?
I think we have to separate, as you have, the long from the short term. In the short term, removing surplus crude would indeed help the oil prices for the short term, but it does not seem likely that this is going to happen. I think over the last week, the balance of probability has turned away from the idea that there will be any OPEC cut. This is because of the meetings which your introducer mentioned between the Gulf producers and the non-OPEC producers. So I think it's fairly clear, although of course anything can happen, that the probability is that there will not be cuts, and therefore the prices may fall a little further.
So you're saying, sorry to interrupt you there, sorry, I thought you'd finished. You said in the short term that it would be a good thing to cut supply, but what exactly is behind this downward spiral in oil prices anyway?
Well, I think we have to go back to slightly longer term issues here. Economic growth is poor in most of the developing world and developed world. China is slowing down consumption, and of course the new factor, if you like, is the rapid growth of shale oil in America. And I think that is where the new confrontation, if you like, is between the shale oil producers, who are many, they're not unified, they have different costs. Some will be affected by this fall, others will be able to go on. And what I interpret is going to happen is that by standing still on their current production levels, OPEC is really turning the pressure onto those US producers.
You mentioned that the OPEC is less likely to cut their production levels. Now, what impact will this have, and will markets stabilize themselves as Saudi has suggested?
I think this may be a matter of 3 or 6 months before it stabilizes, because we will not know yet what really the effect on the US producers is going to be. If the US producers can keep growing, then we can probably look at a lower level of prices.
In your opinion, are there any geopolitical agendas behind the reluctance to reduce supply?
There's never a vacuum in the geopolitics of oil, but I don't think this is the main consideration at the moment.
You did mention yourself US shale. Do you think this has been suggested also? Do you think that this is one of the reasons behind it?
Oh, the growth in shale oil production from the US has been very rapid, and that has certainly contributed to the imbalance, as has the steadiness of production out of places like Libya and Iraq, despite the disruptions there. So, given that there's not much can be done about Libya and Iraq, I think what we are perhaps seeing is a consensus building in OPEC, and indeed in the other main non-OPEC producers, to hold fast with their production, defend their market share, and see what happens in the US. So what happens in the US is the thing to look for, and that will take a few months to reveal. That isn't going to be revealed tomorrow.
Some have warned that higher oil prices could push key customers in China and other Asian countries into recession. Do you think this is the Saudis or this is OPEC protecting their interests?
I think the consumers in China and elsewhere have been living with oil prices much closer to $100 for quite a long time now. So this is and that was probably unsustainable. So yes, it's true that long-term demand will be helped by prices lower than they have been recently, around $100. We also have to remember that for the consumers, it's the prices in their own currency that matters, and the dollar has been going up very rapidly, so that the price fall in dollars does not translate to an equally great fall in renminbi or even euros.
John Mitchell, energy expert, thank you very much for joining us today.